So everybody, just as you're joining us this evening, this event will be recorded. So I just want you to understand that. Now, we do have sound knocked off, so you won't be able to talk or you won't be able to turn your camera on, but you will be able to ask us any questions that you might like to ask in the chat box. As we go through the evening, I have some colleagues joining me this evening who will be answering those questions in the chat. And we'll also be taking some of those questions later and discussing them a little bit further along towards the end of the event. So I suppose we're 1 minute past 6. We'll give it one more minute and then we might just kick off. We've a lot to get through this evening. And I know many of you will have already listed TU Dublin among your choices on your CAO form. Some of you may still be deciding, but we hope that this provides a lot of clarity and detail for you this evening. Okay, so I think we'll kick off now. I'm going to just unshare for a second just so that I can introduce myself. My name is Linda Young. I am the Senior Recruitment Manager for Technological University in the area of CAO applicants. I'd like to welcome some of my colleagues here this evening. Jill Barrett is one of our careers advisors. She'll be talking to you a little bit about she'll be giving you some advice in that area. And then Nolene Johnson, our admissions manager here, is here also. But just to give you an overview of our agenda then. I'll go back to the presentation. So starting off then, I've already introduced myself. Linda Young is my name. And as I said, we have lots of professionals here this evening to give you advice on their various areas. Nolene is going to kick us off initially. She'll be giving you some detail about maximising your application, particularly as a mature student. There's more required of you, and for some students, they might find that a little bit difficult. So Nolene's going to give you plenty of detail about how to maximise that. You've just met Jill there as well. At 20 past 6, Jill is going to give you some detail on choosing the right course. Jill is an experienced careers advisor here at TU Dublin. And for any of you that are still deciding, she'll be able to give you some really good insight then. At 6:40 then, we'll be joined by Maria Jose Gonzalez. She'll be talking about the different support services in the university available to mature students. Guys, there's many support services available to all students throughout the university. So we hope you get some really good detail in here. We'll be welcoming our student panel then at 5 to 7 with 3 students from TU Dublin from a variety of different discipline areas who are going to talk to you a little bit about their story. And, I'll be asking them a couple of questions and they might resonate with you. After the student panel, then what we're going to do is going to reflect back on some of the questions that you have asked us over the course of the event. And you'll have the opportunity to type a couple of questions into the chat box if there's anything else that you might like to find out. If it's a case that we have way more questions than we can get to within the duration, my colleagues will definitely finalise all those questions early tomorrow, and we'll make sure that all of the questions and answers are distributed by email to you after the event tomorrow. Just to also remind you that this is an initial event for mature students, but we have a full set of spring open days coming up towards the end of March and in April. So for those of you who are interested in a particular discipline, there's lots of opportunities to visit the university, meet some of the lecturers, some of the students who are studying on there, have a look at the campus, etc. And we definitely advise you to do that. Speaking of campuses, then we have a number of locations in TU Dublin. So just want to clarify those for you. And one thing that's really important when you're making your selection in TU Dublin, you need to be 100% sure you know where your course is running, because it's very difficult to transfer from one program to the other once you're in the door. So I just really want to make that clear. It will always be identified you know, even on the CAO, we'll say Bolton Street or Angel Street or whatever. So just double check that, please. You know, when you're filling out your CAO form, it just makes it easier for you further along. So these are 3 of our locations. Angel Street, just off Stephen's Green there, our Blanchardstown campus, Bolton Street then, very close to O'Connell Street. And then we have our new Grange Gorman campus, again, very close to Bolton Street and based in Dublin 7. So within walking distance from the city centre, and our Tallaght campus. Guys, if you're studying on a campus, you study for the duration of your, you know, of your course on the location that you're based in, unless, for example, you're studying something that mentions another campus on the CAO. So if you're studying something like general entry engineering, you may split your time between Bolton Street and Grange Gorman, but you know, they're very, very close by. So they're few and far between, but I just want to identify that. We've a number of courses running, plenty of choice across 12 different disciplines, and a number of level 6, 7s and level 8s. So just so that you understand, a level 6 is a higher certificate, a level 7 is an ordinary degree, and a level 8 is an honours degree. So if you come in on a level 6, 7, you will have the opportunity to progress later on onto the level 8 option, if that's what you want to do. These are the disciplines available in TU Dublin. Just a quick overview of them there. So you have architecture and built environment. Built environment is everything to do with the built world around us. Art, design, media, business law and languages, quite self-explanatory. We have a number of different business programs across Tallaght, Blanchardstown and Angel Street. Computing and IT, available again in the city, Tallaght and Blanchardstown. Data analytics and mathematics. Engineering, our biggest discipline in the university, is actually available on 4 sites. Culinary, hospitality, tourism. Music and drama, and the sciences, as well as the health sciences in there. Environment, social science, education, and sports and leisure. I've just given you a brief overview of those, but you're welcome to ask us questions about specific courses later on, and my colleagues again will be happy to help you where we can with the detail behind those. So I'm finished now. I'm going to pass you over to my colleague Nolene. As I said, Nolene is our admissions officer here, and she is going to give you an overview of maximising your application. So thank you and welcome, Nolene.
Thanks, Linda. Hi, good evening. As Linda said, I'm Nolene Johnson and I work in the admissions office here in TU Dublin. So this evening, I'd like to talk to you about making an application to TU Dublin as a mature applicant. So to be a mature applicant, you must be 23 years of age or older on the 1st of January on the year of application. So to apply as a mature applicant this year, you have to be 23 on the 1st of January 2023. Okay, so if you're 23 or over, we'll consider you as a mature applicant. Applications are made via the CAO and they're assessed on the application that you put in and your personal statement. We want you to maximize your application and include as much personal information as possible. Okay, so completing your application, mature applicants are assessed based on their life and work experience. So it's not just your education to date. This is what sets you apart from the Leaving Cert and the QQI applicants. You're mature, so you have life and work experience, and we want to know about this. So the more you tell us about yourself, it's so important. It'll help us assess your application, okay? So under your highest qualification to date, we want to know, are you currently studying? Are you doing a QQI award, level 5, level 6? Are you, did you do your Leaving Cert? What other non-certificate courses have you done? So a lot of mature applicants, while they may not have done a Leaving Cert, they may not have QQI, but they'll have done lots of certificate courses as part of their work or work in the community. So we want to know about that, okay? So these are the headings that are on the CAO application form, and it's important that you complete each of these because we can only assess you if you provide us with the information, okay? The next one is your employment or voluntary work. So tell us what you're currently working at, or, you know, if you're working in the home, if you're in a caring capacity, if you're volunteering in your community. We want to hear all about that because, as I said, it's your life and work experience. We want to give you credit for all that work and life experience. Okay, it's so important. If English is not your first language, we want to know what recognized tests of English you've taken. So have you got an IELTS? Have you got have you done the Duolingo exam? So we want that information. Again, this must be provided to the CIO. So when you provide this to the CIO, you make it available to all the higher education institutes that you're applying to. So if you're applying to 5 other universities, they will all see this information. So make sure you send it directly to the CIO and then we'll all have access to it. You can also provide references in support of your application. So for example, if you're working in a social care field and you want to work in social care, which is very competitive, you can provide references from your employer. Your personal statement. Now, this is where we want to hear about you've done some research on the course. You know what the course involves. You are prepared for this. You know what coming back to education is going to, what preparation you've done for it, I suppose what I'm trying to say. We're looking that you know the modules, you know the course. You may not have a clear career path for yourself. You might have career goals, but you might say, I want to study business, but I don't know exactly what area I'm going to go in to afterwards. And that's okay. We just want to know that it is business, that you know the modules involved and that you're ready to take it on. So your personal statement is very important. It shows us how you prepared for coming to college, okay? And then we're interested in your hobbies and your interests and any other additional information you think is relevant. So now, this is all about maximizing your chances, okay? You need to tick all the boxes that all the categories that you come under. So, for example, if you've done the Irish Leaving Cert, you need to tick number 1 there. If you're currently doing a QQI award, you'll tick number 2. You're also, you should be ticking the box if you're a mature applicant, you should be ticking number 8. So you need to tick all the boxes. Give yourself as many chances as you can. Okay, so mature offers will go out usually the first week in July. Now, if you didn't get an offer in the mature round in the first week in July, you possibly could get an offer in the QQI round, which is the first week in August normally. So if you tick that box, number 2, QQI, we'll watch for that. We'll assess you under the QQI. And then also we'll have the Leaving Cert round, usually after Leaving Cert results come out. So this is where you maximize your chances. Tick all the boxes that apply to you. If you haven't done the Leaving Cert and you haven't done a QQI, that's fine. We'll know that we're assessing you as a mature applicant. Okay, so just be familiar with that page. Now, how is your application going to be assessed? So it's going to be assessed by the admissions office and academic staff. We can only assess you, I keep going back to this, based on the information that you supply to us. So all of the headings I showed you on the previous page, they're on the CIO application. So you need to give us that information. You might be called for interview. Some academic staff, depending on the discipline, depending on the course, they may want you to come for an interview. Where there are more qualified applicants than places, random numbers will apply. So if we had, for example, 100 people and we were offering 80 places, random numbers would apply. And then the highest 80 will get an offer there. Okay. And as I said to you there, I've already covered that mature students are offered in early July. Now, consider your course choices carefully. Order of preference is key. So there are 2 course choice lists. You've got your level 8 listing and then your level 7-6 listing. And you can make up to 10 course choices on each list. Your choices on one list do not in any way affect your choices on the other list. They may be considered as 2 separate applications on the one form. And it is very possible to receive an offer on both lists. So you could potentially get an offer on a level 7 course in marketing and a level 8 course in marketing. That's just an example. You could receive a level 7 offer in business and a level 8 in marketing. And then it's up to you to decide which offer you're going to take. So you will often find that applicants will get an offer from their level 7-6 list and their level 8, and then they decide which route they want to take. We have 66 level 6-7 courses, and they all have progression routes to level 8. So if you start on level 6, you can progress to a level 7 and then progress to a level 8. Excuse me. If you're in any doubt about your course choice, we have some general entry programs. We have them in business, engineering, just to name two, and you can go in on the general entry program and pick a stream. So you could, within business, you could do international business, business and IT, accounting and finance, but usually the first year is common. It's fairly common, and then it gives you options to transfer. So have a look at the general entry programs. If you go onto our website and have a look at the entry requirements, have a look at the modules, there's lots of options there for you. I did say there order of preference is key, and also location. I know Linda has already mentioned this, but it's very important. Look at the transport links for getting to college. For example, you don't want to be applying for one campus that's too far away. You're going to be commuting for 2 hours each way, because that can make it very difficult for you. So definitely consider the transport and location. So at this point, the earliest closing date was the 20th of January. That was for the discounted application fee. And now you have until the 1st of February to make an application for restricted courses. So now it's very important that you double check any communication that comes from the CAO. So watch your emails, and they will send you a statement of application in May, and you need to check that. Make sure they have all the information on you. Make sure they have your PPS number, that they can match up your QQI results when QQI send them to the CAO. Make sure if it's your Leaving Cert, if you did it previously, you need to make sure they have your Leaving Cert exam number. Okay. Now, we were talking about order of preference being key. So if you look at it like this, 1, 2, and 3 could be your dream courses, okay? And these are the courses that you most want. And you really, really want your dream course. And make sure they're your top preferences. So if everything goes right, hopefully you'll get your first or second preference. The importance of putting it in the correct order, because if you get your first choice, you'll never be offered anything lower, okay? You can only ever be offered a higher offer, because they expect, if you put something in as your first preference, a course in as your first preference, they'll expect that you don't want lower preferences. So you'll never be offered lower. So even if you think it's not attainable, you say, oh, I don't think I'm going to get those courses, they're my dream courses. Put them in as your first and second preference. If everything goes your way, hopefully you'll get those offers. If, for example, there are other courses, just say, I definitely have a better chance at getting these other courses, and you put them in as your 4th, 5th, and 6th preference. If you got your 4th or 5th preference in the mature offers in July, you could potentially get one of your higher preferences in the QQI round, or after the Leaving Cert results come out, because we can make mature offers in later rounds where we still have places. Okay, so I hope I explained that now, because the last courses there, the banker course there, it's really order of preference. Your first and second, they're your dream courses, because they're the ones you really want. And if you got those, you'll never be offered anything lower, can only ever be offered higher. Thank you. Now, this is the ladder of progression. So we're often asked, if I get a level 6, if I get admitted to a level 6 higher certificate, can I progress? And the answer is yes. You can progress from a level 6 to a level 7 and then on to level 8. Some people prefer the ladder system. They want to dip in and out of education as it suits their family needs, their work needs. We often find someone will do a higher certificate, take time out, they might go traveling and come back when they're mature and working, and they'll do a level 7 and then progress to level 8. So that's the ladder system. It allows students to take their education in smaller steps. And you know, sometimes people get confidence to do a higher certificate, and then they're, you know, now they'd say, right, I can do this, and then they progress on to level 7. Now they've got the level 7, then they progress to level 8. So that's exactly what it is, a ladder system. Other people will prefer just to sign up to the level 8. They say, no, I want the level 8, and they'll sign up to the full level 8. A level 8 award is generally 240 credits, whereas a level 7 is 180 and a level 6 is 120. So you can see there that you're gathering credits as you move up the ladder. And this is an example of progression. So we have students come in every year on TU 675, marketing level 6. It's in Angel Street, and the points were 301 last year. And you can see the entry requirements to get onto that course for a Leaving Cert student. Now, that student, once they've done 2 years, and this applies to mature applicants. So if you're admitted to TU 675 marketing level 6, after 2 years, you'll have gained your higher certificate. Then if you've achieved sufficient grades at the end of year 2, you can progress on into the 3rd year of the level 8. So then you'll do 3rd year and 4th year to get your honours bachelor degree. Okay, so this is the ladder. You're moving from the level 6 onto the level 8. And we have exit awards built into our level 8 programs. So if you sign up to a level 8 program, usually you can exit with level 7, maybe a level 6. You can exit at different stages also. So the CAO dates, I mentioned there earlier, the early bird application, if you applied before the 20th of January, there was a reduced fee. The closing date now is the 1st of February, and this is very important for restricted courses. You must apply by the 1st of February for any course that's listed as restricted. Restricted courses are usually courses that have portfolios, or, you know, that will be assessed over the next few months, and they require you to apply by the 1st of February. Also, we want the mature applicants to apply by the 1st of February, because the assessments will all happen between now and the end of May. Okay, keep an eye on your email as well. If you're being called for an interview, we'll email you and ask you to come for an interview. You need to submit any documentation supporting your application to the CAO by the 1st of March. So any QQI results you have, any references, any supporting documentation, you should send that to the CAO immediately. The closing date for late applications is the 1st of May, and then the change of mind opens from the 5th of May to the 1st of July. So if you want to reorder those choices or add new courses or take off courses, that's your opportunity. So from the 5th of May, you can reorder your courses and add new courses. And then we have an Access Foundation program. So this is an alternative option. It's a 1-year full-time course which prepares students personally and academically to pursue undergraduate programs at TU Dublin. So it's specifically designed for applicants who've experienced socio-economic disadvantage or educational disadvantage. So you apply directly to the university for this course. Okay, so if you didn't get an offer through the CAO, now you can apply for this course and have it in your back pocket in case you don't get your offer through the CAO for one of your level 6, 7, or 8 courses, or you can apply later on to come on our Access Foundation program. Graduates from the TU 699 are guaranteed, once they successfully complete the year-long Access Foundation program, TU 699, they're guaranteed to receive an offer or progress to one of our other undergraduate courses. So if you do TU 699 in business, we will provide you with an opportunity to progress to one of our undergraduate level 6, 7, or 8 programs. So that's all I really want to go through today. And as I said, my name is Nolene Johnson, and our email is admissions@tudublin.ie if you have any questions about today's presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Would like to invite Jill on there now, please.
Thanks very much, folks. David, will you be able to give me access to sharing there? I just can't share at the moment, so thank you. Fantastic. Thank you,
Jill.
So thanks all. I think that's me. Linda, I think I just have a bit under 15 minutes now, don't I? So I'm going to try and keep as much of that time as possible, just to honor the rest of the content that we have. So you're all very welcome, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us this evening. Delighted to see everybody there. I think we have about 70 or 60 to 70 people on board. Just to introduce myself very briefly, my name is Jill Barrett. As Linda said, I'm a career coach with the Career Development Centre in TU Dublin for far too many years. I also, incidentally, I write the content for a lot of the content for the Change of Mind supplement for the Irish Independent every year. So you do have that lovely window of, if you, apart from restricted entry courses, if you do decide to change your course listing pending certain criteria, you can change your mind up to the 1st of July as many times as you like and with no charge. So it's a wonderful facility to have in the CAO. So I am going to give you a little few tips on choosing the right course. When we say the right course, what we mean is effectively the best fit course. So the course is going to be the best fit for you, because of course there is no right course or wrong course. There are multiple courses that might suit, multiple careers that might suit. And don't forget, wherever you start, it doesn't mean that you're in that for the rest of your life either. If you want to reach out to us after the session, you can also contact any of our own careers team on tudublin.ie/careers. So do bear in mind that you can do that after the session. So, gone back into something else there. Great. So I also want to just credit my colleague Adele Kearney, who did some sessions for Linda and team last year. So a lot of these slides are her content that I have just tweaked for this year. So thanks to Adele for that. So I'm just going to talk to you briefly about how we in TU Dublin support students from the Career Development Centre. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, I suppose, ways that you will make your best course choice. And again, as Nolene mentioned there, and I put a few things in the chat, if you didn't notice, they're in there, just a little note around the ladder system and how you can use that and be clever around using Careers Portal to help you choose courses that are maybe further down your list, a little bit more attainable, to help you get into the ones that are further up your list and maybe you think you mightn't get into. So just always remember that, you know, if a door won't open, there are probably considerable amount of other doors that will help you to get in there. So don't give up hope and don't be too narrow in your course choices. So just in terms of, I suppose, a little bit of imagery, and also just to say to anybody who has a visual impairment this evening, just to give you a bit of a descriptor of myself, I'm about 5'7". I have dark hair with the aid of hair dye, glasses, and I'm very pale skinned from having not seen much sun this summer. So I just wanted to, I suppose, put up this image, and the image is of a tiny little person on a dinosaur on the edge of a cliff, which is overlooking a giant ravine with rivers and forests and very icy mountains at the other side. And everybody on the call here today, with no disrespect to anybody, we're like the dinosaurs, okay? So we're the ones that have been around the block quite a bit, particularly in relation to TU Dublin and also the courses we have and life in general. So please do reach out to people like us to help you on this journey ahead that you have. So even if you don't, you know, decide to choose TU Dublin, you know, still reach out to us and say, look, can you help me make a good choice? You know, so it's not about you know, only getting help if you're coming to us. We can, in the Career Centre, we're happy to give you a bit of general guidance if that helps you on the way. So, you know, our job is to get you, again, down through the ravine, through the journey of your life and up to the pinnacle of the career that you're aiming for at the other side. So please do use us and use anybody on the call today and any trusted professionals to help you do that. So why do students come to us? So obviously our main remit is, once you become a student in TU Dublin, to look after all of you. And we do that at the moment. So we've probably around 30,000 students in our remit, a big cohort. And why do they come to us as students and graduates? For career decision making, to help with career choice, course change. A lot of people will start and think, gosh, this isn't the course for me. And also to help them research further study. And we help them to explore career options related to their course. So, you know, where will this course lead me? Often a lot about job hunting and career guidance in general, and networking guidance, sorry. So how to connect with others and how to create opportunities for yourself. Support with your job applications. So obviously things like CVs, cover letters, and application forms themselves. Interview performance coaching when you get the job, which inevitably you do. And we have a lovely maximize the opportunity for you to get an interview. We also have some great apps, and one called Career Set, which is a CV review program, which enables you to make sure that your CV is sort of 85% above in terms of your applications and increase the likelihood of your being employed, which for many of you is obviously a key thing here. And last thing, of course, in relation to sort of business startups advice as well, a lot of our students will consider starting their own business, so we'll refer them on accordingly and help them where we can. Ways we help, so we can meet you one-to-one for career coaching, and every student that comes to TU Dublin has up to 3 opportunities to meet with us during the course of their career. More if we have the space for it, but generally in terms of our pressure of time, one-to-one, 3 of those during your career. Very valuable asset to have. Career development workshops, so we do those both as part of programs and also on an ad hoc basis. We run loads of career events and seminars in person and online. One of the things I ran last year, for example, with a colleague in another university, was careers in leadership for underrepresented groups. We are very, very keen to get as many students from as diverse a background as possible. So whether you have a disability, you're from a different ethnic culture, religion, all genders and none, we want everybody to be part of the body, because the more students that are part of that body, the more we all learn and grow as a society and an institution. And I suppose it's great to try and get those of you who are in minorities as well into leadership positions, because that really changes the game. So that Careers in Leadership was all about promoting our minority groups in our student population to get into leadership roles. And we run employer and industry presentations and jobs fairs. Everybody thinks about jobs, but we are all about careers in the Career Development Centre. So to that end, you'll see all of our resources on this website here, tudublin.ie. Oh, okay, that one is, I'll just put it in, maybe if somebody could just grab that and put it in the chat, or I will put it in the chat at the end. And also my qualification, what next, that's on our website as well. And what it does is it basically connects you to many of our courses and see what jobs and what careers our students have actually attained at the end of that. So that's really important to look at that. So your dilemma at the moment is, this way, that way, what course am I going to choose? What career path am I going to choose? We've all been at that crossroads at some point in our lives, and some of us multiple times in our lives. Okay, so you're not alone. I'm just going to ask you, I suppose, to think about just for a moment. I won't ask you to put it in the chat box just because we are under pressure for time today, but I'm just going to put a couple of numbers up, and I want you to just think briefly about what these numbers might mean. Okay, so 8, 50 and 6. So 8, 50 and 6. Okay, so starting to think about what are those numbers pertaining to in relation to your career. Okay, so just to think about that for a moment. So I'm just, again, because we're under pressure of time, the simple one is you spend on average 8 hours a day working. Most of us do. If we're in an average job, we spend 8 hours a day working. The second thing is the 6 is we spend, or we change on average about 6 times, 6 significant job changes in our lifetime. Now, in reality, I was looking at a statistic the other day which says that the current generation of students coming in, not mature students necessarily, but as a mature student, you're just 23 or over. So it's still people in their teens and 20s expect to change jobs multiple times. So it could be tens of times. So maybe 20 times in your lifetime or more. So that 6 figure is probably becoming a bit outdated, but many job changes. And the last figure, the 50, this is the scary one. So certainly if you're in the 23 and plus bracket a few years afterwards, you're going to be spending on average, some of you will have a good amount of these under your belt already, 50 years of your life working. 50 years of your life working 8 hours a day, the majority of your waking hours spent in a job. So what is the most important thing? The most important thing is that you love what you do. Most people spend more time choosing a phone than they do planning their career. Okay, so it's really important to take this time tonight and a little bit after this session to choose what you want to do. Okay, to choose what you want to do. We want you every day. I want you, Linda, Nolene, Mary Jose, everybody on the call today wants you to be jumping out of the bed every day you know, coming to TU Dublin, obviously, and thinking, I cannot believe I have signed up to this program. I cannot believe I get to be with all these tutors and lecturers and, you know, team members every day. I can't believe I get to sit with these people in this course every day, my fellow students. Okay, so this is the dog, a dog that I used to have that had a delicious habit of nicking barbecue food when we would have a barbecue or a picnic. So we want you to feel this happy every day when you're coming to a program and when you're engaging with your career and whatever job you're doing. If you're not, you know, what's the point in continuing with something that you're not happy with? What's the point in plowing on just for the sake of it? Please don't do that. Life is so short and we never know when somebody is going to turn the lights out. So the path that doesn't exist is really a testament, this slide is really a testament to this notion that, you know, it doesn't have to be a path set in stone. It just has to be a vague idea of where you want to go. I like to think of the analogy of the tree, you know, a big tree being the, you know, the to the top of the tree, straight up the trunk to the top of the tree. The course you really want at the moment is the ideal. But if you don't make that, make sure that the branches are the things that support you, all the people you're going to put in place, all the other opportunities you're going to put in place to make sure that if you don't get straight to the top of the tree, what will support you if you fall back down a little bit and who will support you, but also Nolene mentioned the ladder program. If you don't get the top of your CAO list, what other courses have you further down the line that were a little bit more attainable that will enable you to get to that program? And you'll see I put in the chat there that careers portal link there. Loads and loads of options, obviously. So, you know, the challenge these days is not that you don't have choice, it's that you have so much choice. It's called the tyranny of choice. And the nice thing, as we've just said there, is you might just land at a stop on the tube line. If it's not for you, don't worry. Let's help support you. Ask us to help support you in finding the way to the course that is the right path for you, whether you're at the thinking stage now or once you get into the program a little bit, or once you get into the program and you're at transfer stage later on, maybe 2 or 3 years into the program. Use us to help you find that. A really good exercise and something very quick you can do. I'm just going to give you the tip on how to do it. And I would suggest that you use this after you go off the call today to help you isolate the type of career, the type of area, the type of role, the type of job, and thus the type of career that will be a really good fit for you. 4 things to look at. I would say if you have a page open there or into your device, just type in values, interests, personality, and skills. Really easy way to remember this, your VIPs, values, interests, personality, and skills. Ideally, if you're writing this down or typing this in, or you want to speak it into a recording, think about it. These are your deal breakers. The values are the things that are most important to you when choosing a career. Your interests are the things that are most of interest and you're most passionate about. Personality, okay? Think about your personality traits and what you want to rock or use, to best advantage in your career, what you like using as part of your personality, what you like to shine out from you. And the skills, what are the things that you're good at doing and you like doing? Because there's always things that we like doing, they're good at and people expect us to do. We don't necessarily like them. So a good deal breakers exercise is just to start listing those from the top to the least most, but ideally write down 2 or 3 that are your deal breakers. Deal breaker means if this isn't present as part of this course or part of this career, I am not interested in it. It's really easy then, it becomes really easy to pick the courses that are the best fit for you. Linda, I'm very conscious of time. I'm going to crack on as much as possible. I'll just be another couple of minutes. So use your network, but be very, very key in your mind that your values, interests, personality, and skills are the thing that should influence you the most. Outer opinions, very useful, but only if they're informed, okay? So in terms of career choice, I'm just going to skip over this because we've covered a bit of that already. I'm just under pressure for time. So who are you now and who will you become? What do you want? What is your purpose, your mission? You might have heard of a guy called Simon Sinek, and he's all about what are you here for? What are you here to do? What is the one thing that you want to achieve as a human being from a career perspective, and not even a career perspective, just from a life perspective? What difference do you want to make in the world between now and the time you shuffle off the mortal coil, okay? So that should be the one and only thing that presently informs your course choice, not whether you'll get a job, not how much money you'll make, how much of a difference you're going to make and how much you will enjoy it. Those are the only things that matter. In terms of finding best fit, and again, I think Linda will probably share these presentations with you afterwards. Careers Portal is great. It's very basic, but it does exactly what it says on the tin. Prospects, a slightly higher level one that we use with our students and graduates. Again, it's a skills and interests matching exercise. It helps you to find best fit. And the last one is a really useful one, icould.com, a British website, again, but really useful in terms of some great career videos there in terms of occupational profiles. Careers Portal is amazing because it helps you to look up not just the courses, but also the careers that relate to them. And critically, when you see that little chain link beside the course you have identified, it means there's another route apart from the direct route into that course. It means a PLC or a lower course has a precedent of allowing applications from that course for entry to that course. Okay, so it means if you don't get the top of your list, putting those other courses that there is a precedent of transfer in from on your CAO is really important. This is just something for you to think about. Again, we just don't have time to get into this today, but just thinking about yourself a year down the line, you know, you're really happy, you're delighted with your course choice, you're delighted with your career. What steps did you take in making that choice? So again, we're just under pressure for time, so I'm just going to pop through them very quickly. Really important, research all of our courses and the course providers, that's ourselves, TU Dublin. In this instant, read the course literature, think about the skills you might gain from doing it, attend open days. Talk to the course coordinators, the lecturers, speak to students. You can ask to speak to students that are doing the course or are graduates of the course. You can find out from ourselves in the career services where graduates and alumni have gone from the courses. So that information is there for you. You can attend sample lectures. Some lectures will allow you sit in. We say that to lots of people, a minute amount of people participate in that, but it is something you can ask for, not a guarantee, but you can ask for it. Chat to prospective employers, so reverse engineer, site visits, shadowing, talk to the people that are in roles and going to be employing you in roles, you know, from the courses that you're thinking of doing. That's a great way of finding out, you know, is that the right program for me and discipline area for me. Then just finally really reflecting on your career motivations, those VIPs, do that VIPs exercise, visit ourselves. You're really welcome on campus, have a look around the facilities. You know, I'm biased, I think, bar none, I think we have one of the most amazing campuses in Grangegorman. I've visited a lot of them over the years, but the facilities that we have in Grangegorman in particular are fantastic, and obviously the new you know, the new facilities that they have, the buildings in Tala and Blanchetown as well. But just have a look around any of the campuses that you're thinking of being part of. Meet with a well-informed guidance professional or those you trust. And I say well-informed deliberately, and don't take advice from anybody. Use the career self-assessment tools. And as Linda said earlier, and Nolene emphasised, you can always just choose a general degree and then you have the option of specialising later. So finally, I'm going to leave you on this, just to say whatever you decide to do, just make sure it makes you happy. So thank you very much, folks, for your attention this evening. I'm going to hand over now to Mary Jose and wish you all the best in your career. And I'm here up until about 2 minutes to 7 if you have any questions in the chat. Thanks indeed.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I'm just here opening my presentation and hopefully you'll be able to see it soon. So I'm just waiting for it to open. Okay. Okay. So I hope you can see that now. Okay,
Yes.
so this, thank you very much. And, you know, I've learned so much myself from the previous presenters, and I hope to give you a good overview of the student services and well-being here at TU Dublin. So as you're possibly aware, this the student services and well-being support is available to all TU Dublin students, regardless of level, regardless of discipline, regardless of campus, and indeed regardless whether you are whether the student is coming directly from the CAO or a mature student. And these are resources that I think are particularly pertinent to mature students as they help with the transition in coming to higher education and third level. So you have the resources are in a special sort of website section of the TU Dublin website. So what are those services? We have a universal student support model that means is available to all students in all campuses at TU Dublin, and they can be classified in these different sections. So the student support covers areas such as medical service, counselling service, pastoral care and chaplaincy, disability services, access student support, financial aid and accommodation services. Behind each of these services, there's a team of people, of experts in these areas that are there for students to avail of, either occasionally or frequently, whichever and whenever the need arises. The student success is a center, is part of the support that contains the following services: the career development services, and you've heard a lot about that service from Jill just now. Academic Writing and Learning Centre is the centre that I manage, and I can tell you more about it if you're interested. We also have the Maths Learning Centre and Student Training and Development. So these centres, just to actually emphasise it again, are there to complement the academic offer and support you in being part of the fabric of the university and facilitating your work, your academic work. We also have some student hubs which deal with student queries and through various service stations. And then there is the other aspect of life at the university that is not specifically academic, but allows you to develop your contacts through sports, through societies, through volunteering and peer mentoring. I was lucky to attend the award ceremony for the societies section some years back, and I was amazed at the level of commitment of the staff in the section, but also of the students who are really the engine behind the societies. And these societies range from photography club to debating to societies that are closely associated with the degrees that the students are taking. Similarly, with sports, it ranges from elite sport activities to activities that sport activities and exercise activities that everybody can engage with. The student registration is really the administration of student registrations, results, all of that aspect. So you can see that this is a very clear and large overview and comprehensive of the student support that is available to you. So when you arrive at DAT as a mature student, for example, there is a great effort to welcome you into our learning community. And we have put in place an orientation program which is specific for mature students, and it covers this information that you've just been given, but in greater detail, you're able to meet the heads of each of those services that will give you up-to-date information on their service, contact details, all of those different elements. And this orientation program takes place at the start of September. And apart from that information, there are also boot camps for science or for maths, or indeed for academic writing. So it's a great way of acclimatizing to this new environment, starting to think in an academic way about your program, about the tasks and activities associated with your program. In the orientation program, we also focus on sharing the culture, the language, and the expectations of the university. And to that effect, there has been a great deal of effort in creating materials and resources that are available online. So, for example, there is a language video in terms of the language of the university, so that students are clear what is meant by credits or modules or some vocabulary that may be a bit opaque at present. There's also the student success module, and I will show you a screen grab for that. There's an orientation plenary, and of course there's a great effort on equality, diversity, and identity through a variety of activities, as well as the consent training. So this is the student success portal, the screen grab that I was telling you about. And as you can see there, you can see some of the elements, and there are others included. But is that welcome to DIT, finding out about your digital skills. You're invited to take a particular survey. You are also given information about academic integrity. There is various sections within it that you will gain access as soon as you become a TU Dublin student. And this portal is open to you to visit online as many times as you wish. It may open up questions that you then need to follow up with a particular service or a particular person. And that is something that I would encourage you to start thinking about, this effort and this commitment and engagement, not only with the in-person, but also the digital space that is there to support you. So these are more screen grabs about the various services that you can see there. So, for example, issues around getting your student ID card, or updating contact, or stamping your forms, or how about issues relating to the students' health. So through the Healthy Campus, through the health centres, through the counselling service. So all of those are there for you to see, and I think those are already open for you to see and to research. So I think this is just some links for you to follow up. TU Dublin publishes a cost of living guide at the start of the academic year, around late August, September, and it's always a good idea to check that out. Also, if you have issues and in relation to accommodation availability and cost, that's the link for you there. The financial aid similarly. So this is a very quick presentation about the student services and well-being support that is available to all students, and a reminder that behind all these sections there's a team of professionals really with their only aim is to actually help you to not just survive but to thrive in this new environment that you're going to be part of. So I am finishing this presentation. I can tell you as I disclosing that the Academic Writing and Learning Centre at TU Dublin, we offer one-to-one appointments, that is individual appointments, and a range of academic writing workshops for you to link in and to get better prepared to what is like writing at university. We all say that we're all new and we all have to learn this new language of academia. So it's something that everybody needs to be to become good at, and we have really seen that with the Academic Writing and Learning Centre, we're making that transition for students a little bit smoother. So I'm finishing on that, and I'm happy to answer questions if you have some, and thank you for your attention, and thank you to colleagues and Linda for organising this.
Thank you, Mary Jose. That was very insightful. And I'd like to thank all of our speakers here this evening. Again, if you have any more questions that you would like to ask, if you want to put them into the chat there. But now we've heard from the experts, but now we actually want to hear from some people who are actually experiencing all of this. So I'd like to ask our three students, Naomi, Stephen, and our other lady who apologies, I've forgotten your name. That's very embarrassing. If you want to join us. So I've
Kerry.
Kerry, sorry, Kerry. It's not that you're not rememberable, or I've just had a very busy day. Lots of names coming up there, so apologies. And yeah, I'd like to welcome you all on this evening. Thanks, Stephen, for joining us as well. So I suppose what we're going to do now is we're just going to have a little chat to some of the students. Some of this might resonate with you, and certainly if you want to put in some questions as we go through, please do. But first of all, I'm going to actually come to Kerry because we were just chatting before the event. And I'm going to talk to Kerry, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe introduce yourself and tell us what you're studying.
Okay, so my name is Kerry and I'm 32 and I'm studying accounting and finance in Tallaght. I suppose I wouldn't have, like, I probably, when I went back to education, I went to Crumlin College and I kind of looked at the account and stuff and I said, no way, I wouldn't be able for that, because I kind of nearly hadn't even looked at a computer for so long and stuff like that. And so I went and I did an account or a reception and admin course in Crumlin College, and you know, I kind of did really well and I built my confidence up, and it kind of spurred me to apply for TU Dublin Tallaght then, because I'd always kind of been interested in accounting even since school and maths and stuff like, and I kind of felt like in my gut that it was the right course for me. So I went ahead, and I suppose I was thinking about the job prospects and stuff like that, and I suppose accounting would have been like, I'll definitely get a job in that, like, somewhere, and it just felt really right in my gut, and even the kind of fitted in with what Jill was speaking about the values, interests, personality, skills. Like, I think my personality even went with accounting, like,
right,
you know, I like things in the right boxes and, you know, all organized and stuff like that. So yeah, I suppose that was kind of what spurred me to choose the course in the first place. Yeah.
And Kerry, maybe you could tell us a little bit about why did you choose TU Dublin and Tallaght campus, you know, as opposed to maybe the lots of other options that you would have had at the time.
I chose TU Dublin Tallaght because it's actually, I'm from Tallaght myself, and it was just location, convenience. I have a daughter and stuff like that, so, and my job's in Tallaght. It was just, yeah, and it was just by chance I was looking at the course and I said, that's for me, like, you know, and that was as simple as that, like, you know. And I didn't even actually put anything else on my CAO. It's terrible, but I was saying that's the only one I want to do. Like,
That's
you
the
know.
only one you
Yeah.
wanted. And like for some people, it's probably the only
Yeah.
one that they could do if they were
Yeah,
going to get a
yeah.
course. Like, but that's what you had your heart set on,
Yeah,
Kerry.
and I put loads into my little personal statement and stuff like
Okay.
that. And I just knew, and I had done actually a bit of work experience in my Crumlin College course in an accounts office, and I said, I can do this, you know, that way.
Yeah.
And you know,
Yeah.
so
Like I think a lot of people, particularly mature students who haven't studied in a long time, are really worried about whether they'll be up to the level when they come back.
yeah,
And they're surprised that they just nearly need to get that confidence piece right. Because when they come in, then they're flying. Because a lot of mature students, we certainly find in the university, once they know that they're doing it and they're committing to it,
yeah,
they're
commitment,
absolutely
yeah.
like flying through it. You know, more so than even some of the, you know, the younger students coming straight in off leaving cert.
Yeah.
Because I think mature students have kind of had that life experience and know things might get hard, but they can, you know, they can keep going. So so maybe tell us a little bit about your course. You're studying accounting. What year are you in, Kerry?
I'm in third year, so semester 6. I've just started actually today.
Okay.
And yeah, it's challenging, like I won't lie. And I kind of the subjects though, they all kind of really tie in together, and like they're all very manageable. Like if you just keep up with it, accounting is something that like I think you can't really fall behind with. Like you can't kind of do last minute studying. You have to kind of commit and you know, be working at it, like especially the actual IFR subjects, accounting subjects, the computer subjects as well are really good and really like tie in with the accounting, and then you get like a bit of insight into the law and what else was there, business side, the business subjects as well. So it all really ties in, and especially this year you find that kind of everything is really interlinked. And I just find the way the course is run, like it's just really like it's really like I've built my confidence up so much with all the like the support as well in the college, like that I've gained since I've got there, and the encouragement as well, like is great. Like so, yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
And Kerry, what is it, the level 8 program that you're studying, or are you finishing now with your level 7?
Well, I was planning to finish with the level 7, but I think I'm gonna go and do the level 8, because I think I'm gonna go and do a graduate program and just actually hopefully become a qualified accountant, which I didn't really think I was gonna do at the start, to be honest. Like, you know, I'm lucky enough. I feel really lucky to be able to do it, like, you know, and be able to kind of get through the course. So
I think that's an amazing insight into studying as a mature student, and particularly the flexibility that TU Dublin delivers, like within their programs, you know, offering at level 6, and you know, you're committing to the 6, and then you can see, you know, a lot of people actually end up, I mean, we have lecturers in TU Dublin that come in on level 7 programs and have PhDs now, you know, and they just didn't think that they were academic when they started in, maybe after school or whatever, and now they're a lecturer and they have a PhD and they do this for their job. So, I mean, it's certainly very manageable, much more manageable, I think, than people think. I think it's a real confidence thing. Like, I was a mature student myself, for many years, went back and studied, hadn't done a degree, went in, did a degree, then done a, you know, a postgraduate as well. And yeah, it was hard work, and certainly I started with the 5 credit module just to see where I was, and all of a sudden I was like, yeah, I can do this. So like that really resonates, and I'm sure it'll resonate with a lot of people on here this evening. Did you avail of some of those supports in the university, some of maybe that Mary Jose had spoken about there, Kerry?
I've definitely availed of financial support over the past couple of years, obviously with having to drop a good bit of work and stuff just to commit to my course, because like ultimately this is for my career, like, you know, so I did have to drop a good few hours work, and you know, I knew I was going to have to sacrifice anyway, like, you know, and I was committed to do that. But like the support, obviously the student assistant one, like I didn't even know that was there, and then when I heard that I was able to get it, like I was just delighted. Like, so yeah, I've availed of that, and like they give you kind of top ups then the odd time as well, like, so like, and then obviously I'm entitled back to education allowance, which was great as well. So look, there is support there, like, you know, for mature students or people returning to education, and you know, it is thank God nowadays that there is that stuff, like, you know.
And there's a variety of different financial supports there. As you said, the Back to Education, the Student Assistance Fund, and we also have a bursary as well, the 1916 bursary for students that might be from socio-economically difficult backgrounds. You know, you can apply for that, and again, you're getting a bursary to study in college. So it just makes all the difference when you have that assistance. What do you think were your main concerns going back to college, Kerry?
I suppose just the time. Would I be able to manage it? Would I fail? Like, you know, I suppose, like, I would, like, sacrificed a bit of time and, like, you know, having a life at times, but like, you have the summer off, you know, like, and I think, like, I suppose the career path that I'm going into, I think you have to just commit to that anyway, like, for a few years. But you know, I was ready to do that, and like, it's only for a few years, and then you have your career that you really like at the end of it. That's the way I see it, like, and I enjoy it. So, like, you know, picking the right course definitely helps, like, you know, when using all them tools to pick the right course. So that was my main concern, like the time that I was going to sacrifice, and the obviously the financial side of it and stuff. But you know, there is like, it's well worth it when you see them marks on the page, and then you're getting excited about going and you know, planning your career and what's the next step, and you know, so it's well worth it.
You're striving. No, you sound like you're doing great, like, and I suppose, like, people thinking about coming back to college, like, the contact hours and weeks that you're in college is actually only 24 weeks in first or over the course of the year. So it's actually less than half of the weeks in the year you'll actually be in college. Now, you may have, you know, there's 12 contact weeks in semester 1 and 12 contact weeks in semester 2. You will have exams outside of that, etc. But there's a lot of time off, and a lot of time is self-managed as well, isn't it? So, so it is intensive, but you know, you definitely have more time than you think with those. So, Kerry, just my final question to you. What advice would you give to the 70 or odd students on here this evening who are thinking about going back to college for the first time, maybe after many years?
I suppose just, like, be sure about, like, the course in the first place, and look at the subjects of the course, and look at the time that you need to put into the subjects out of college, and you know, can you commit to that? And like, that was the main thing for me. Can I commit to that? Will I enjoy that? Like, do I see myself in that job, like, later on? Or, you know, that was my main thing. And just stay committed, keep a positive attitude. Like, you know, there's a lot of people that don't maybe have the opportunity to go to college, and you know, that's what my focus was. Like, I was just trying to be grateful for being able to have the experience, you know, at this time in my life, you know. So that was just the attitude as well, like, is the main thing.
Main thing. Well, listen, thanks very much, Kerry. I think there was some great advice there for our students on this evening. I'm going to come to you now, Naomi. Thank you very much. And maybe you can introduce yourself to us and give us a little overview about what you're studying.
Well, I'm Naomi. I'm 43. So
a young one.
I'm studying social care, and I'm in second year, and I'm in the Blanchardstown campus.
Sure.
I went back because in 2020 I lost my job, and I was absolutely devastated. Because I'm a separated parent. 2 of my children have additional needs, so I was kind of devastated. But then I had someone that I'd been in contact with had planted a seed about me doing maybe peer support with victims of domestic abuse, and that got me thinking that would be a career that I want, because I'm the complete opposite to Kerry. I worked in finance and hated it.
Right.
So
each to their own, as they say.
Yeah, that's it. So I said that I'd like to make a career out of working with victims of domestic abuse. So to do that, I had to look at social care.
Okay. Okay, and you did, and why did, or you've kind of given us an idea about why you chose social care, but why was it TU Dublin for you, Naomi, and particularly TU Dublin Blanchardstown? You've said to me like that you really, really love Blanchardstown, so if you could just maybe give us a little bit of insight there.
Yeah, well, I was looking around, and I live in Dublin 15. I live in Clonee, so Blanchardstown was the best choice for me because I have 3 children, 2 with additional needs. So it was a no-brainer really that I was close to the kids should I be needed in an emergency. And I'd met a few students kind of in my daily goings about that were from TU Dublin. So
Right, okay.
So that kind of helped as well. And then the career guidance I did the level 5 in Dunboyne, and the career guidance there, he was like, oh, he spoke very highly of TU Dublin.
Yeah.
And he was like, look, it's down the road from you. It's perfect.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a real consideration, and we do say that to students, you know, when they're thinking about it. Like, we're very lucky in TU Dublin that we've so many locations and we're so spread out, and you know, a lot of our programs will repeat across the campuses, so it's definitely a consideration. I mean, we'll never tell somebody don't go here or don't go there, but we'll definitely tell them to consider, you know, the traveling in and home, etc., because it just makes all the difference if you can get somewhere you know, quickly. You're not sitting in traffic, gives you that extra time, you know, where you can probably get home quickly enough, Naomi, and you're not like queuing into town and all sorts, like, which just makes the difference, particularly as you're a mom, like with some children. So maybe you might tell us a little bit about your course, Naomi.
So it's a very diverse course. It's quite in depth. There's a lot in it. You learn in first year about why social care exists and the historical reason of social care. And that's important to learn about, especially since my course now is approved by CORU, who are the registering body for social care workers in Ireland. And as far as I know, TU Dublin are the only one that are approved, which means we can, when we get our magic degree after putting all the work in, we'll be registered with CORU, because it's an approved course.
It's an approved course, yeah.
So there's lots of different modules. There's psychology, there's sociology, there's professional practice, team collaboration and teamwork. It's just a very diverse course. I mean, in the first semester of first year, there was a working creatively with service users, and we got to play games in the morning time and do
That's
art
something you weren't expecting, no.
Make absolute idiots of ourselves, but it was good. It does take, because it can be quite intensive.
Yeah. Maybe you could talk to us a little bit about the supports that you availed of then, Naomi, as a student in Blanchardstown.
Yeah, I think I availed of every support that Maria Jose spoke about.
Good.
Yeah, because I'm by myself, I had applied for, when I went in, I applied for the Student Assistance Fund, but I also then saw that there was the 1916 bursary. So I applied for that as well, because I fell into the bracket.
The bracket, right, okay.
So I applied for it and I got it, and it's been an absolute godsend. I went back through, I used Susie to go back to education, because I was only working part-time. I was able to qualify for Susie, so
yeah.
But I've seen the nurse, the doctor, the counsellor, I've seen everybody.
So we've all free services on all of our locations for, you know, full-time students. So doctors, nurses, counselling services, career services, etc. The academic writing centre, the maths learning centre. They're invaluable for students, and they're free resources, and you know they should be used. What were your real concerns, I suppose, going back to college? You've kind of identified some of those to us in the first instance.
Like Kerry, it was the time. Would I have the time with the children? Could I commit to it? would I be able for it? Because there was this big, while I'd done kind of certificate courses and PLCs, I was like, will I be able for university? This was this big out there thing. So I wasn't sure if I'd be able for it. But I'm in second year, so I'm getting there. Year. But like that, with the support of the lecturers and then all the additional supports that are available.
Yeah.
It does make a massive difference.
Yeah, you were talking to me about your placement. You were saying you were able to get support to get your placement. You were worried a little bit about that.
Yeah, because you hear horror stories of people having to find their own placements, but we didn't have to. TU Dublin found them for us. There's a whole department that look after placements for us. So I'll have another placement again in third year, but we're able to put in. Now, you're not guaranteed to get a sector that you're looking for, but you're able to give your preferences, and they take into account then the location and the commitments that you have as well.
Yeah, great. So finally then, I want to ask you, Naomi, what advice would you give to the students on the call thinking about going back to college?
Be very sure of the course that you're doing. Don't be concerned about not being able, because the supports are there to help you if you're struggling in any way academically. There's great supports, and be sure that you can commit to it. It is a big commitment. I mean, it is a big commitment, but it's when you enjoy doing it,
it's worth it.
It's easy.
Yeah. Right. Listen, thank you very much, Naomi. It was great to hear from you this evening. Stephen, last but by no means least, we'll come to you. Stephen, if you just want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're studying.
Yeah, so like Linda said, my name is Stephen. I'm 28, and then I'm currently studying mechanical engineering in Bolton Street at the moment, and I'm in final year of the level 7.
You're in final year of your level 7. Stephen, can you give us a little bit of insight into why you decided to go back to college?
Yeah, so I suppose originally I was starting a course 10 years ago, and it wasn't for me at the time, and it's not, like, college isn't for everyone at the time. I did a few different things, and I grew up as the years went by, and I actually subsequently joined the army about 6 years ago, and through the army I commissioned an officer about 2 years ago, and through them now they're allowing me to go back and further my education. So I thought it was about time, I suppose, I knuckled down and finish off my engineering degree.
Finishing off your engineering degree, so fair play to you. So you'd chosen engineering originally, and you came back to it. You didn't think of going in another direction, Stephen? No, that was what you wanted, yeah?
Yeah, it's like I've always known what I've been good at and what I've liked, and like from a young age, it's always kind of doing stuff with my hands and building stuff and figuring out how things work and stuff. So that has never left me, and I suppose when I joined the army, that kind of highlighted, because it's kind of the same stuff of being good with your hands, being outdoors, being creative and thinking. And I kind of just look back into it, and then obviously we have an engineering corps within the army, and I kind of talked to a few guys down there, and it just kind of spurred me on again to just kind of go back to it and develop that skill, I suppose.
Develop that skill, yeah. And I think maybe did the applied nature of TU Dublin, really help in your decision? Yeah,
definitely, quite definitely. Like Bolton Street is probably one of I know definitely from talking to people in different sectors. It's renowned for their hands-on approach, especially with the laboratories. Like, you have some of the best equipment that you can get your hands on, which includes like CNC machines, 3D printing, laser cutting technology, so you get to see what's out there and you get to use it. So like whatever you can think of it's your limitation. If you can think of it, you can nearly create it down there. And Bolton Street are so good that they allow you to get in there and get your hands on with these machines, train you up on them, and then actually try and make stuff with it.
Yeah, and I think that's like probably a lot of you are thinking on the call here, what's the difference between a technological university and a standard university? You get a much more applied experience when you're in a technological university, meaning you get to be very hands-on with things, as Stephen is describing here. Can you tell us a little bit about your course then? What sort of things would you be studying then, Stephen?
Yeah, so again, our mechanical course is it's quite broad, like, but it's very in depth at the same time. We go from anything from electrical and electronics, so learning how to build circuits, learn how different circuits work together and generators and work and how electricity works, to then moving on to CNC machining, so how to work with software like CAD solutions. So that's building stuff on a computer, 3D versions of it. Learn how to code that and send that to machine to produce it like manufacturers would do, and then you end up with a product as a consumer. And then we have other stuff like control systems, fluid labs, which are how pipes work in buildings, how pressure works and all that. So it's quite, you get a wide variety of yeah, that's the word I can't even think of. My head is gone now at this stage, but yeah, you get to see a lot of different aspects of it, like, so it's quite unique.
Yeah, sounds like a broad program where you get to really get in and get hands-on. Did you avail of any of the supports in the university, Stephen, at any stage?
Yeah, so like I have, like, people think like supports are just certain things they can do. Everybody in the college is a support. That goes from your lecturers to your fellow students, to your head of engineering. And I always take advantage of the lecturers that I have and the head of engineering, and they always point you in the right direction of where to go and what to look for. I'm currently a student, so I applied for the laptop loan scheme through the library. I was pointed towards that because I was using a laptop, it was a bit outdated. So that allowed me to access the laptop straight away. I was able to run software, so I wasn't falling behind in my education. I was able to be a bit more flexible between coming to not staying long hours. So I was coming to college from 9 to 4 for my normal lectures, but I didn't have to stay in the library till 9 o'clock because I was able to have a laptop now, so I was able to bring that everywhere with me. And then as well, like I do actually have dyslexia, so I was pointing in directions of learning sources, and then if I needed help, that who to look for, and again pointed at everything's on the website at TUD. You can find all the information there of if you do have learning difficulties, that there's always someone there to help you with.
There's someone there. And actually that question did come up in our chat earlier on. For those of you that are worried about the DARE scheme, the DARE scheme for students with disabilities is about helping them to access college, and it's really linked to points, coming into university. So mature students are assessed very differently on their work experience, etc. So the DARE scheme, matures are not eligible for them for that, but you still are eligible to access all of the services within the university. Once you register with the Disability Support Service at TU Dublin, you'll get access to every, all of the supports that you need. So thanks for mentioning that, Stephen. What were your concerns then about going back to college after, having come in and not really enjoyed it in the first place? And I know like it happens a lot of people, they just, they need to mature and they come back a little bit, when they're a bit older or whatever, and it just seems much easier.
Yeah, I think like everyone suffers anxiety, and I suppose that what if, or who am I going to meet, or what are they going to like?
Yeah.
Is there going to be people similar age to me? For me in my course, like the demographic of the course, the majority of students are kind of between 20 and 21. But that doesn't stop. There's still human beings at the end of the day, and they're still going to like the same stuff. Like, you're like-minded people, you're studying engineering, they're going to have the same ideas and thinking about them. So like, I suppose that originally, and then being away from maths for about 10 years, I hadn't seen it. But again, it's not, if you let all these emotions develop, yeah, it's going to make the course 100 times harder. But if you go in there with an open mind, I'm not afraid to ask questions. You see a lot of people, they won't put up their hand and ask a question. No one's going to give out to you for asking a question. If you don't understand, the lecturer's always there to help, and they'll help you as much as they can in class, because obviously they want to help everyone, but there's only so much time within lecture. But they'll always find a way, whether it's to email you, maybe do a team call with you and go through some of the information. And there's also the services where there's kind of group learning, and people have them up on the notice boards where if you need extra grinds or whatever, they'll point you towards someone. They have a bit of available time, they might be able to run it through you. So they were the kind of two concerns I had. But again, once I got into the course and kind of got down and just started just going to college, I suppose, again, you just kind of get into the routine. And once you get into that routine, it's not actually that hard, and it's not as daunting as people think it might be. It's small little steps every day, and once you kind of do those, you start building up, and before you know it, you're in the final year of a level
You're
7.
flying, yeah,
You
exactly,
know, yeah.
exactly. And I think one of the things that mature students really think when they're coming back to college is that, you know, are they going to add any value to the class? When in reality, they add so much value, because like a lot of the students coming into college for the first time, maybe coming into first year, they might be 18 or 19. Some of them might be 16 or 17, you know, and they're haven't got the confidence to ask a question like a mature student would. You know, they want you to ask the question on their behalf or whatever. You know, they're nervous about that, whereas mature people tend to be more practical. I'll just ask that question. They're not as embarrassed about it, all that kind of stuff. So matures are really valued by the, you know, the younger students, just in terms of even giving them a bit of direction. It might not be got to do with coursework, but even, you know, just from life support on the odd occasion, you know, we're seeing things differently to the way a younger person might see it. Also, you kind of mentioned there that you use the lecturers, and I think that's also something really valuable about TU Dublin, and maybe to highlight that. We stick to quite small classes, even though we bring in large engineering groups. A lot of the classes, you know, they wouldn't go over maybe 50, max 60. Some of the class groups would be a lot smaller than that. Like, so you're not going to be in a big lecture theatre with 300 other students. You know, maybe some of the other universities might teach that way. That's not the way it's done in TU Dublin. As I said, it's very hands-on, smaller class groups, and it gives you a better experience, just definitely if you need that more assistance. So Stephen, then I'm just going to finish off with, what advice would you give to students thinking about going back to college here on the call this evening?
Yeah, I suppose, again, don't be scared of applying for a course. Like, you're more than capable of doing it. It might be daunting at the first thought, but again, like the two girls said earlier before me, do your little bit of research on it. Make sure you're happy with what kind of modules you're going to be studying. Is that kind of the interest you're in? I know for me in engineering, it's so broad. There's so many different ones. So just make sure you sit down, you know what you're doing, you know what you're getting into, but just, I suppose, don't let the being scared of what if, or who's going to be there, or what if I do. There's so many clubs and societies. There's always going to be friends there. There's always going to be a support there to lean on. So yeah, just, you know, sometimes you just have to take the jump and just go with it, and you get there, and then, you know, and just take that chance, you know, and it'll work out in the long run. And you know, I wish you the best of luck if you do go on and study in TUD, and hopefully we'll see you around campus.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Now, thank you to everybody for joining us this evening. What I will say is, all of the presentations that we have this evening, we will send them out to you by email over the next couple of days. Just in terms of financial aid, you can read about financial aid at TU Dublin on our website. Our form is not available until September, so you really have to start in order to apply for it. But you can look at SUSI and Back to Education if you're looking for funding, and the 1916 bursary. You can have a little look at that, a little read about it. This seminar will be, or has been, recorded and will be published, and we'll also circulate the link to that too. I'd like to thank you for coming on this evening to have a chat with us, and I'd like to thank you on behalf of all my colleagues from TU Dublin here this evening. Again, I'd like to remind you about that impending date of the 1st of February. So if you're thinking about CA or TU Dublin, please fill out your CAO form, or get one started before the 1st of February. Get your courses on there. There will be an opportunity to change in May if you do change your mind, but because we need to call matures, you know, sometimes for interviews, etc., you know, we like you to have the detail on there so that we can call you early. If you have any other questions after this evening, you can address them to admissions@tudublin.ie. Maybe one of my colleagues might type that into the chat there. And also, just to remind you that we do have a number of spring events in the next couple of weeks. You can, again, I might get one of my colleagues just to put the link in there again. Maybe David, you might put the link in there to our spring events. You can sign up for whichever one suits you. You can come to them all. You can come come to whichever one you like, and you'll get to meet more of our students. You'll get to meet our lecturers, have a look at the premises and get a real feel for what TU Dublin is like. So that's the end of our event, spot on 7:30 this evening. And yes, thank you very much and good evening. Bye-bye.